Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna talk about how to finish the project. So many people, including me, especially me, struggle to finish a creative project. And maybe you have a few creative hobbies like me and you feel like nothing comes out of it. And I think by now we all know the pattern and have watched millions of videos on YouTube explaining this dopamine cycle, how at first the initial idea excites us and we're motivated, and then we start and then we stop because it's become too overwhelming, too boring, too long of a commitment. And at the end, you will eventually come across a new idea that sparks your interest, and the cycle continues over and over again. Now in this video, I'm just kind of thinking out loud about stuff. And the background is literally just to be there. I hope you enjoy it. But it's actually also kind of symbolic because I started this drawing 1.5 years ago. That was not the time it took to finish this drawing. I just didn't work on it for months. Mind you, it was like half done when I just abandoned it. And like a few weeks ago, I went through my gallery on ibispaint. Yes, I work on ibispaint. And then I saw this unfinished project. That's usually my biggest problem and what happens to most of my projects. Forgotten, half finished, and super uninteresting to me, even though they all came from some sort of big inspiration actually. And when I saw that painting, I actually had no intention of finishing it at all. I thought it looked kind of weird. The proportions are a little bit off, I'm not gonna lie. But through some miracle, I finished it. You can see the evidence in this video. And I thought, since this problem is like a plague, especially in the art and the creative community, I would kind of give my opinion on actually finishing a project and how the hell I sometimes do it and why this happens so often. I think one reason for stopping a project midway is that it's just daunting. Like when you don't immediately see an end to your creating progress and it feels like it just keeps going and going. I personally feel overwhelmed by that and just abandon the whole thing altogether. So what is important first of all is just to have this project align with your interests. Like, of course, I'm interested in sewing clothes, but I'm not gonna have a project that consists of I'm gonna sew all of my clothes now or something like that. Because that's not where my passion lies. My passion lies with, for example, I'm trying to write a book actually right now, and it is such a passion project that I can actually motivate myself to work on it every single day just because I love it so much. And I cannot do that with many other projects actually. And when I can't do that, I'll just set the goal realistically. Like, instead of I'm gonna make an entire wardrobe from scratch, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna do a few crochet pieces this year. And yeah, so match the commitment to your interest. Tracking your progress is super important and it has helped me so much. I personally started doing that by creating crochet vlogs, for example. This is a fun way of creating content, but also finally creating something. I'm not saying everyone should become a mediocre YouTuber, but for example, you could make a little chart for your project or some kind of bar in your journal or somewhere where you can mark your progress, or you create small sub-goals and mark them off as you go. Another thing that could be a reason for abandoning a project or which I think just limits artists nowadays a lot is comparison. I'm not gonna lie, I don't even want to start with that social media is the devil stuff. But I have to admit I am addicted to it, and I can say for certain that being bombarded with the curated perfect achievements of others all the time leaves me feeling worse about myself, even if I watch it for motivation, or thinking that I should just give up because I'm not as good as other people, blah blah blah. Now, there is some content on the internet that does really motivate me. For example, I love watching writing vlogs and seeing other authors share their progress when writing. I feel like the difference is that in the art community, everything is much more curated, aesthetic, pretty looking, even when it's like just a work in progress. I personally feel like the authors here on YouTube are all more unhinged and real about their progress and how messy it is. My tip here is just to get off the damn platforms. I guess seeing cool achievements made by other people can be some sort of inspiration, but constantly consuming other people's achievements just makes my brain compare my work to that of others, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. And now I try to avoid social media, especially when I'm stuck in a creative hole or have no motivation. Another thing that makes me abandon a lot of projects is the fact that it's become repetitive and boring. For me, that's kind of the main reason actually, and it's kind of ironic considering that all my hobbies seem to be things that you need a lot of patience for, and where I have to repeat the same things over and over again. And they all also cause carpal tunnel, so I don't know why I'm into that stuff. So while I really love drawing, crocheting, writing, painting, there are just times where I can't be bothered to do it. And the good thing here is that these are entirely optional to my life, and I don't have any external deadlines or requirements. But what do I do when I have no internal motivation? Well, whether you're neurodivergent or also just very burnt out or overworked, you need systems that work for you. I personally will never push through something because, first of all, I literally can't. And every time I do push through something, I never want to do it again in my life. Get that shit away from me if I am being forced into it. Never gonna happen again. So basically what I do instead is I start a few projects around the same time. Not 1,000 projects, but a few. And when I start these projects, I kind of vow to myself to not start any other projects until some of these are done. So when I eventually get tired of decorating my apartment or something, I work on my crochet. When I get tired of crochet, I will write. When I get tired of writing, I decorate the apartment again. I feel like an actual child that cycles through their toys. Like I'm a child in my playpen or something. I mean, if you ask me, that's kind of great. And hobbies are supposed to be playful and fun, so why not feel like a literal toddler? This sort of keeps me in a loop of restarting things, which makes the task less boring, and eventually I will finish them, which also gives me more motivation. And because I know myself, I know that I will eventually try to start new projects before the ones before that are done. That's just how it works. So I also start keeping a journal for creative projects that I still want to do. So I won't forget the idea, but it's out of my head. So the reason why I actually finished this painting in the background is that enough time has passed since I started it, so it kind of feels new again. I had a new way of tracking the progress of the painting this time, which is this very video. It doesn't overwhelm me so much because I broke it up into sections, and I kind of avoided consuming so much perfect and refined art content on social media so I can just do my thing. And the best thing ever is I didn't have any pressure. I didn't think to myself, I need to finish this piece. I just started having an interest in drawing digitally again. What I want to add at the end here is that creative projects just need space. And I mean, for me personally, and not finishing something is obviously not the end of the world. But I get that having unfinished projects around you is frustrating. Like, it frustrates me at least. So I hope I could share some insights with you, and thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you also enjoyed the speed paint. Bye!